You think we need refrigerators and freezers to keep food from spoiling? But here's the shocking truth. Medieval societies developed ingenious, long-lasting preservation methods that kept food edible for decades, a mastery that 95% of today's survival foods would fail to replicate. I'm about to reveal 12 astonishing medieval food preservation facts that will revolutionize your understanding of culinary endurance. Salt's ancient dominion. Imagine a world where a year-old fish tasted fresher than today's supermarket produce after a week. For millennia, salt wasn't just a seasoning. It was the ultimate weapon against decay, the bedrock of medieval food security. Viking longships carried salt-cured cod and herring, surviving months at sea. A single medieval family could consume hundreds of pounds of salt annually for preservation alone. This wasn't luxury, it was survival. Salt enabled vast trade networks and military campaigns, feeding armies far from home. But salt wasn't the only guardian against spoilage. Sometimes, the very air itself became an ally in the quest for culinary immortality. The sun's oven and wind's embrace. While salt drew out moisture, another ancient technique leveraged nature's most abundant resources, sun and wind. This wasn't merely drying. It was a deliberate, climate-dependent engineering marvel. Medieval people didn't just sun-dry fruits. They mastered the art of pemmican-like meat preparations and created a range of dehydrated vegetables that could last longer than some modern canned goods. Grains were threshed and air-dried in granaries, fruits like apples and berries were sliced thin and spread on racks, and meats were cut into strips and hung in airy, smoke-free spaces, often for weeks. This process, often combined with light smoking, removed up to 90% of water, making bacterial growth impossible. Think of modern jerky or freeze-dried meals. Medieval folk were doing this with far less technology, proving that simple physics beats complex machinery. Yet, some foods demanded a more transformative process, where controlled decay became the very key to their lasting existence. Fermenting futures. Moving beyond simple removal of water, fermentation introduced a microbial battlefield where beneficial bacteria actively fought spoilage, transforming raw ingredients into profoundly shelf-stable staples. Consider the ubiquitous medieval cheese wheel, a dense, calorie-rich artifact of careful microbial management, often aged for years in cool cellars. Or lacto-fermented vegetables like sauerkraut, a staple that provided crucial vitamins through long, harsh winters, preventing scurvy. Sourdough bread, another fermented marvel, kept grains palatable and digestible for longer than unleavened loaves. Even beer and wine, beyond their intoxicating properties, were safer to drink than water and offered caloric sustenance. This wasn't accidental. Precise temperature control, salt levels, and even specific strains of starter cultures were passed down through generations. Monasteries, with their organized labor and deep knowledge, became centers for producing long-lasting cheese and brewing. Paradoxically, by encouraging a specific type of controlled decay, medieval people prevented uncontrolled, dangerous spoilage. This deliberate manipulation of microorganisms highlights a sophisticated understanding of food science centuries before Louis Pasteur. But what if you wanted to preserve highly perishable items, not just with beneficial microbes, but with a sharp, immediate shock to the system? The vinegar vanguard. When fermentation offered a slow, steady shield, pickling provided a swift, acidic punch, immediately halting spoilage and extending edibility for months, even years. The shock, medieval pickling wasn't just for cucumbers. Entire cuts of meat, eggs, and a vast array of vegetables were submerged in vinegar or strong brine, creating an environment too hostile for most spoilage bacteria. Records from English manors describe barrels of soused, pickled fish and meat, stored alongside gardens bursting with cabbage and onions destined for preservation. This method was crucial for preserving the bounty of a successful harvest or hunt. For example, during extended sieges, pickled foods were a lifeline, providing vital nutrients when fresh supplies were cut off. The acidity of vinegar, often enhanced with salt and herbs, dramatically lowered the pH, rendering the food inert to common pathogens. This ingenious technique allowed medieval communities to create vibrant, tangy provisions that sustained them through famines and long journeys, a stark contrast to our modern reliance on refrigeration for almost anything acidic. But what if you wanted to infuse preservation directly into the very fiber of the food, not just its liquid surroundings, smoked to perfection? Beyond merely drying, the slow, consistent application of smoke was a medieval masterstroke, transforming raw meat and fish into resilient, long-lasting provisions. The shocking truth is that smoke doesn't just add flavor, it acts as a powerful preservative, infusing food with antimicrobial and antioxidant compounds that inhibit bacterial growth and prevent rancidity. Imagine hams or fish, like salmon, hanging in the smoky rafters of a medieval smokehouse for weeks or even months, gradually transforming into dense, deeply flavorful, and almost indestructible sustenance. Archaeological digs reveal widespread use of smokehouses in Viking settlements and throughout medieval Europe, indicating its critical role in food security. Specific woods, like oak or hickory, were chosen not just for taste, but for the beneficial compounds in their smoke. This low-temperature, long-duration process not only dehydrates the food further, but also coats it with a protective barrier of creosote and other phenols. This ancient method meant that a smoked herring or a slab of bacon could endure lengthy voyages and harsh winters, providing vital protein when fresh sources were scarce. The lingering question remains, what about preserving the most delicate of nature's sweets without modern sugar refining? Sugar's sweet embrace. While less accessible to the common peasant, for the wealthier classes and monasteries, sugar and its more common cousin, honey, became an extraordinary preservative, transforming perishable fruits into long-lasting, delectable treats. The shocking revelation? Medieval candying was not just about luxury. It was a potent preservation technique that leveraged sugar's ability to draw out moisture and inhibit microbial growth, making delicate fruits last for years. Imagine whole figs, quinces, or citrus peels slowly simmered in thick sugar or honey syrups until they became translucent and intensely sweet, then stored in airtight containers. These candied fruits were a prized commodity, often used for medicinal purposes or as provisions for long journeys, providing essential calories and a vital source of vitamins. The sheer concentration of sugar created an osmotic pressure so high that most bacteria simply couldn't survive or reproduce. This method, detailed in medieval cookbooks like Times the Form of Curie Asterisk, allowed for the enjoyment of seasonal produce long after harvest. Contrast this with modern fruit preservation, often relying on industrial canning or freezing. Medieval artisans, with just heat and raw sugar, achieved comparable shelf stability, turning a seasonal delicacy into a year-round staple. But what if the food itself provided its own preservation mechanism? Fat's lasting legacy. Beyond the external applications of salt and smoke, medieval ingenuity also harnessed the inherent properties of fat to create incredibly shelf-stable, rich, and delicious provisions. The shocking truth is that submerging cooked meat in its own rendered fat, a technique known as confit, created an airtight, sterile environment that could preserve the meat for months without refrigeration. Imagine duck legs, pork, or goose slowly cooked until tender, then packed tightly into earthenware pots and completely covered with their own rendered fat, which solidified upon cooling. This sealed off oxygen and created a barrier against spoilage bacteria. This method, particularly prevalent in regions like Gascony, France, was a cornerstone of medieval culinary survival, allowing families to enjoy fatty meats long after the hunting season. The fat acts as a perfect natural sealant, preventing air, moisture, and microbial access. A well-prepared confit stored in a cool larder could last for many months, providing a dense source of protein and calories. This technique wasn't just about preservation. It imparted a unique, tender texture and deep flavor. It's a testament to how medieval cooks understood and exploited food science, turning simple animal fat into a critical preservation tool. Yet, some of the longest-lasting provisions didn't involve complex cooking, but rather strategic storage of the raw ingredients themselves. Nature's cold storage. Before mechanical refrigeration, medieval societies relied on an ingenious, passive cooling system that literally tapped into the Earth's stable temperature. The root cellar. The shocking insight? These simple underground structures, often dug deep into the earth or built into hillsides, maintained a consistent cool temperature and high humidity year-round, extending the life of many perishable foods by months, sometimes even over a year. Imagine apples, potatoes, carrots, onions, and various root vegetables meticulously layered in sand, straw, or sawdust in a dark, well-ventilated earthen chamber. This consistent environment prevented freezing in winter and excessive heat in summer, while the humidity prevented dehydration. Castles and manor houses typically boasted elaborate root cellars, sometimes extending beneath the living quarters, acting as natural larders. Monasteries, too, perfected their root cellars, enabling them to store vast quantities of produce for their communities. The temperature, typically between 35–50 degrees Fahrenheit, 2 to 10 degrees Celsius, drastically slowed microbial growth and enzymatic activity without the need for any energy input. This natural refrigerator was an absolute essential for surviving long winters and periods of scarcity, providing fresh produce long after the harvest. But what about the very foundation of the medieval diet, the grains? And how were they protected from an even more insidious threat? The granary guardians. While other methods focused on processed foods, the preservation of raw grains, the very foundation of the medieval diet, presented a unique challenge, protecting vast quantities from pests, moisture, and mold. The shocking revelation? Medieval granaries were sophisticated architectural marvels, designed with passive ventilation, pest-proofing, and moisture control that allowed grain to be stored safely for years, even decades, underpinning entire economies. Imagine enormous wooden or stone structures, often elevated on saddle stones to deter rodents, with intricate ventilation systems that kept grain cool and dry, crucial for preventing spoilage. Monasteries and castles would have massive granaries capable of holding enough grain to feed hundreds, sometimes thousands, for extended periods. Historical records from the Domesday Book in England hint at the vast granary capacities across the land, essential for feudal lords to collect taxes and feed their populace. The primary goal was to keep the grain below 14% moisture content and consistently cool, inhibiting germination and fungal growth. Pests like weevils were combated with various strategies, from meticulous cleaning to the use of herbs. This ability to store grain long-term was not just economic, it was a matter of life and death, safeguarding communities against crop failures and famine. But what if you needed to create a complete, calorie-dense meal that was virtually indestructible and carried easily for months on end? The pemmican powerhouse. Beyond individual preservation methods, some cultures developed composite survival foods that combine techniques to create an ultimate, indestructible ration. The shocking truth is that pemmican, a concentrated mixture of dried meat, rendered fat, and sometimes dried berries, was a medieval-era innovation, though popularized by indigenous North Americans, that could sustain explorers and warriors for months, remaining edible for time's decades **. Imagine a dense, nutrient-packed block made from pounded, dried, lean meat, often venison or bison in its original context, but adapted in medieval Europe with beef or game, mixed with an equal weight of hot, rendered animal fat, tallow, and occasionally fortified with dried berries or herbs. This compact, calorie-rich superfood, documented in European accounts of Native American practices, demonstrates a profound understanding of food chemistry. The complete dehydration of the meat, combined with the encapsulating antioxidant properties of the fat, created an anaerobic environment that prevented bacterial growth and rancidity. A handful of pemmican could provide substantial energy for a day. While not strictly European medieval, the times of combining dried meat and fat were likely used in various forms across Eurasia, adapted to local resources for armies and traders needing portable, long-lasting sustenance. This remarkable food allowed for unparalleled mobility and endurance, proving that the ultimate survival food is often a clever combination of ancient wisdom. What other simple, yet ingenious seals were used to protect even the most delicate of provisions? Wax, clay, and airtight secrets. Even after employing preservation techniques, preventing contamination and air exposure was paramount, leading medieval ingenuity to develop ingenious sealing methods that kept vital provisions safe for extended durations. The shocking reality is that materials like beeswax, clay, and even animal bladders were meticulously used to create virtually airtight seals, protecting foods that had already undergone initial preservation, extending their shelf life even further. Imagine precious honey, a natural preservative in itself, being stored in clay pots sealed with a thick layer of beeswax, protecting it from moisture and pests for centuries. Consider hard cheeses, rubbed with oil or lard and then coated in wax or ash, creating an impenetrable barrier against mold and drying out. Even eggs, a highly perishable item, were sometimes coated in wax or packed in salt or ash to seal their pores, lasting for months in cool conditions. Medieval documents and archaeological finds consistently show evidence of these sealing practices. Jars of fruit preserves or potted meats, once cooled, would often have a layer of rendered fat or wax poured over the top before being sealed with a lid and perhaps a final plaster of clay or pitch. This meticulous attention to sealing was crucial for maintaining the anaerobic conditions necessary for many preserved foods to last, preventing the ingress of oxygen that feeds spoilage microbes. It reveals a nuanced understanding of environmental control, transforming simple containers into long-term storage vaults. But beyond structural protection, did medieval people understand the hidden power of certain plants to actively fight decay? Herbal and spice defenses. While often prized for flavor, many herbs and spices commonly used in medieval cuisine possessed potent antimicrobial and antioxidant properties, functioning as silent, invisible guardians against spoilage. The shocking truth is that many medieval recipes didn't just call for spices to mask the taste of slightly off food. They incorporated them as deliberate, sophisticated antimicrobial agents that actively inhibited bacterial growth, extending the life of dishes. Imagine meat dishes heavily spiced with cloves, cinnamon, pepper, or mustard, not merely for palatability, but because these spices contain natural compounds like eugenol in cloves or cinnamaldehyde in cinnamon that are scientifically proven to kill bacteria and fungi. Even common herbs like thyme, rosemary, and sage, rich in antioxidants, would be packed around preserved meats or added to brines, delaying rancidity and microbial proliferation. This wasn't just folk wisdom. A 2017 study found that some spice combinations used historically were incredibly effective at inhibiting bacteria like Thyme's E. coli Thymes and Thyme's Salmonella asterisk. For medieval cooks, the liberal use of certain spices, though expensive, was an investment in food safety and longevity, especially for dishes intended for travel or long storage. This proactive use of plant compounds demonstrates an empirical understanding of natural antiseptics long before the advent of modern chemistry. It underscores a holistic approach to food preservation, where every element, from salt to spice, played a critical role in the enduring edible legacy of the medieval kitchen. Conclusion. These medieval food preservation facts reveal a profound understanding of food science, achieved through empirical observation and centuries of trial and error, that makes modern reliance on electricity and refrigeration seem almost simplistic. While we fret over a power outage spoiling our fridge contents, medieval communities faced existential threats of famine and disease, yet created methods for food to last decades, not days. The most shocking part? These ancient techniques, salting, drying, fermenting, smoking, pickling, and strategic storage, are still viable, sustainable, and incredibly effective today. You could start preparing for future uncertainties by learning basic drying techniques for fruits and vegetables, or exploring the art of lacto-fermentation with simple krauts and pickles immediately in your own kitchen. Modern homesteaders and survival experts studying these historical patterns report significant benefits, from enhanced food security to a deeper appreciation for traditional culinary arts. Want to master these medieval secrets that ensured survival and culinary resilience for 1,000 years? Subscribe for our complete guide to medieval food preservation strategies that actually work in today's unpredictable world. Don't let modern limitations restrict your food freedom when centuries of proven wisdom is waiting to transform your pantry and your peace of mind forever.